Hey, Trojan family, what is going on? Welcome to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Thank you, as always, for making this a part of your day, making this your number one listen for USC Trojans news, updates, analysis, tea, all of it. Appreciate you all. Let's just get right into it. Quick transfer portal update. This will be kind of a short and sweet one. I feel like I say that every time that I end up going on for 20 minutes. This one should be much sweeter, though, because it's just a quick portal update as of today, Saturday, January 3rd. A few visits, more visits have been scheduled. I did one yesterday about a couple that were scheduled today. You know, the NC State wide receiver and the Iowa State cornerback. I think the defensive back there is probably the one to really watch for. But today, also visiting former Washington linebacker Devin Bryant. And this one actually feels like it is moving rather quickly, and USC is kind of the team to beat. So a little bit about Devin, obviously at Washington last year. He is 5'11", so a little on the shorter side, but 230 pounds, so certainly fits the profile for the weight distribution. Finished last year with 62 tackles, which was third most on the team, and he's a local kid. Originally went to St. John Bosco for high school. This is one that he essentially, I think, entered the portal, kind of got, if you will, lost in the wash up at Washington. The Washington Huskies are pretty deep at the linebacker position. He started 10 games for the Huskies before players came back from either injury or whatnot and kind of overtook him in that room. And while he did not play bad, I think just the talent level maybe surpassed him. And, obviously they felt that their future going forward was with other guys on the roster. And Devin Bryant felt, hey, he could go somewhere else and potentially compete or just get a fresh start or whatever that may be. So didn't play bad. Everything I've read and looked into during his time at Washington was, he's a good run stuffer. He's got a good nose for the football, plays very smart, very gap sound. So kind of all the things USC is looking for in a running back, maybe just lacks a little bit in terms of the true high-end skill set, but certainly can do things really well. The question will be is, do they see him as a true like Mike linebacker or as like a Will or Sam linebacker? Does kind of have that versatility a bit in a ways of where they want to put him. So I think that's what ultimately will kind of come down to the vision of kind of what they're looking for, but also how he just fits within USC's defense, which right now we don't exactly know what that defense will fully look like because there is no current defensive coordinator. So interesting one here. I don't believe, regardless of what happens with DC and coaching, and I don't mean this in any disrespect whatever to Bryant, but I don't think he would be the big linebacker signing. I think USC will still go after one of the bigger fish linebackers. I think Bryant would be viewed more as hey, this is a kid that wants to come back home, back to Southern California, a kid that has a lot of experience, had 62 tackles, third on his team in the Big Ten, played Big Ten football, so understands the brand and what it takes to play linebacker in this conference, and can come in and, hey, if he beats out who we got on the roster, great. If not, we have a very good, solid depth piece with a lot of game reps and experience. So I still think they'll go after some of the other guys that I've talked about previously. I said before, I think I see two linebackers coming in this portal class. So I don't want anyone to think necessarily, we'll see what happens. And obviously once the DC is hired, that could change things. But I don't think if they were to end up signing Devin Bryant and Pete Nakos of Rivals put in a prediction that it would ultimately happen and he would stay at SC and not schedule any more visits, I don't think they would be done at the position. So I think a lot of people will be like, what? That's your big, we need this linebacker help, and this is who you go get, a guy that got beat out on his own team. This to me is a very versatile, very strong depth piece that ultimately could still continue to develop and end up beating out for playing time. So, which is, hey, what you want. Iron sharpens iron. But I don't think this would be viewed as the savior of the LB. Not that I think they need that, but I don't think this would be viewed as a guy coming in guaranteed starting spot. It would be kind of a compete and see kind of situation. So that's the latest on Bryant, but certainly trending in the right way that he could end up being the second commitment in the transfer portal. Remember, Carrington Pierce committed a while back, Christian Pierce's brother. In visit news, we talked about Cam Coleman last night, number one receiver in the portal, formerly of Auburn. He does officially have a visit scheduled for January 8th of next week. So he's visiting Texas A&M tomorrow, visiting Texas Tech on the 6th, and then will, if he does not commit to one of those two teams, will visit USC on the 8th. Now, I would not be shocked at all, just knowing what we know. Both A&M and Techs with big NIL checkbooks. I would not be shocked if those two programs throw a lot of NIL money, maybe Tech even the most out of all of them. But if you're Cam Coleman, are you chasing the biggest bag? Are you looking at the biggest opportunity for you to be successful? You look at these past two, just this past season, if you look at the offenses of A&M, if you look at that offense of Texas Tech that just got shut out by Oregon in the playoff, or you look at the offenses of USC with Lincoln Riley, that's probably where your best opportunity is, but I don't think USC will pay the most. I think they will certainly actually look to try to get Cam Coleman. I think they'll make a competitive offer. But as I've said before, wide receiver, while a priority to add a kind of really good receiver to this young room, I don't think it's the top priority. So you can't be spending your top budget on a receiver. It's got to be less. So if he's going pure for money, and not to say Tech and A&M are bad teams. I mean, they both made the playoff. But I think if he's going purely for money, it will be elsewhere. But if he's going for a competitive offer and kind of the best offensive situation, not just saying with bias, proof is in the pudding, that would be USC. So January 8th, if he makes it, will be his visit out here in LA. Hey, what's going on, LAFB family? Before we get to the show, got to tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. The number one sports app right now, and not just for season-long fantasy. They have daily game updates. They have a live chat that you can chat with other users. Plus, my favorite part is the daily fantasy feature, which is similar to a pick'em. You just choose two or more players across any sport. Choose more or less in whatever sport that may be. So if it's football, more or less touchdowns. For Jaden Mayava, if it's Mekhi Lemon, more or less receptions. If you're looking at the Dodgers, more or less home runs for Shohei Ohtani. Really easy, and you can win real money. Right now, when you go and make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code. You see it right there on the screen, USC LAFB. That's going to give you a match deposit bonus up to $100. You put in $100 to play with, you're going to get $100 free on top of that. You can put in 10, you get 10 free. Also, right now, our friends are offering a $20 free entry for any new signups. If you go sign up today, you'll get both those offers. You get $20 right off the bat free to play with. Plus, use that promo code USCLAFB at sign up and you'll get that match bonus as well. Go to the App Store, Google Play, download the Sleeper app today, and tell them that the USC LAFB sent you. Now, let's get on to the show. And then last one we'll talk about right now, another scheduled visit, defensive lineman. Stefilon Green from Clemson has locked in a scheduled visit with USC. He'll be at LSU tomorrow through Monday. He'll be at Texas A&M after that, the 6th and the 7th. And then coming to USC, same time frame as Coleman, on the 8th through the 10th. And then Miami after that, if USC doesn't lock him in. So right now he's a top 5 defensive lineman in Rivals portal rankings, and stands currently at, not currently, but he's 6'4", 290. So doesn't quite have the weight that I keep talking about, really wanted to go after in these interior guys. Has the height to maybe put on a little bit more pounds. Finished last year at Clemson, 18 tackles with 2.5 sacks. So not uber productive, but certainly a highly standout recruit, certainly a kind of talented player from a historically good defensive program at Clemson. Obviously, they've fallen on kind of trot times lately, but a guy that has some talent, and we'll see what USC kind of sees from him. Again, it's just really hard to predict kind of what's going to happen with defensive portal players when we don't know the defensive coordinator situation. So I did obviously my entire video just a few hours ago on kind of the DC, whether it's still going to be Pete Kwiatkowski, whether they're going to promote within with Coach Henne, what's the smoke there, what's the real there. You've got to just have a decision here soon. And because you can't sell these portal players In offense, you can, right? I mean, offense, you're in place, especially no matter what kind of happens in the skill players, your head coach is like the offensive architect. Defense, it really depends on the vision of the defensive coordinator, and these position coaches are so important, but the DC is who's architecting the actual defense. So you got to get this figured out ASAP, whatever it may be. And obviously we'll be on with you right when it happens, but that's going to be critical to landing some of these guys in the near future, unless they already know behind the scenes kind of what the plan is and it just hasn't been announced and they're letting this go, which, I like to think they do, right? We like to think they're not just flying by the seat of their pants. But for someone like a Green from Clemson, guys like that, those big bodies that a lot of guys are going to want, LSU, A&M, Miami, SC's, those are big-time programs. It's not like SC's competing with, some G6 programs. They're competing with the big boys, and we've seen in years past, USC hasn't been able to kind of win these big boy battles at times. This was the year myself and many others said, hey, this is the year USC is going to win these big boy battles because NIL is not an issue. But now you don't have a defensive coordinator. And so you're dealing with that now. So got to get this locked in soon. But that's the latest with the transfer portal as of today, January 3rd. Be back with more everything breaks. USC announcing 2 more re-signings today. So I'll hop on here a little bit later to break those down as well. Never a dull moment covering USC. So guys, make sure to hit that like and subscribe so you're in tune for everything going on. We'll be back with plenty more. Thank you. And as always, fight on.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.